Hey, it's me, Tammy Lowe, the Lazy Northern Gardener, and I could not help it. You see that sun in my face? You see that sunshine? I could not help it. I had to come out with my big old loppers, and I am doing just some basic perennial cleanup. Spring cleanup of perennials. So, perennials in our area, up in Michigan, southeast Michigan, and Michigan, anywhere up north, perennials all die back on over the ground. Anything that's above ground will die back. And the general rule of thumb is that you can trim your perennials right at the ground level. The roots are still alive, they're just sleeping. They send out new shoots, and you can prune them. I normally would not do a spring cleanup this early in the year, but we're supposed to have, I think, a week of days that are like 55, 60 degrees daytime temps, and then the lows are not going to be below freezing. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. I did a before and after photo of what it looks like, but I'll show you right now. So flip it around here. Whoops, I don't want a sticker. There, flip it. Okay, so this is a perennial right here. All of the branches are dead. Sometimes the perennial sticks are so crisp you can just snap them off, but this one is a hibiscus and I don't want to snap it off. I also want to show you what I do for a lazy gardener. And then this over here is one of the cup plants. Over there are swamp milkweed, and I can cut all those back as well. But again, the general rule of thumb is perennials in Michigan can be cut all the way back down to the ground in the spring. Some people might say, well, what about roses? No, don't do roses. Roses get pruned when the when the forsythia, the yellow flower, is in bloom. The yellow flowering shrub is in bloom, forsythia. That's when you prune your roses. And the reason for that is that if this was a rose plant and we get more snows and things, there's going to be dieback for roses. And if you cut them back this hard, if you did that in the fall, or if you do it right now, and this freezes, it's actually going to affect the roots down below, and that's where the roses come up. So for roses, do not prune them now, but regular perennials, you can cut back now. Like I said, I've got cup plant, and then I also have hibiscus. And I am not going to put these branches in the composter. I'm not going to put them in the fire because they may have some critters living in them. So instead, what I'm going to do is leave them in a corner over here where we don't see it, we don't use it, and then the critters can wake up from their slumber when it's time, when they're ready. They'll wake up and they'll come out of the stems and the leaves. So for now, the birds are having a field day over here in the leaves that I had put in here over the fall. I now have it open to them. We moved here in 2019. We moved here in 2019, and I have had fencing, 2-foot garden fencing up everywhere that I don't want the chickens to be and the dog to be. Now cats can get in there, everything else can get in there, but the chickens don't tend to fly over the fence. And the dog hasn't climbed over the fence either or jumped the fence. So in this area I'm at right now, in the very back, the very farthest east side of my yard, this is a garden that was fenced off with 2-foot garden fencing and 2-foot U-posts. And because the plants in here are so mature right now, I have now opened it up to the chickens. They can dig and scratch. They can add their poop to the garden. And they're kind of tilling a little bit of soil, and they're mixing up the leaves, and that's okay with me. They can keep doing that. It will keep my weed pressure down, And they're not going to be harming the mature plants. The mature plants are going to grow in spite of the chickens. And I have mostly hibiscus and cut plant back here. I did grow basil. If I get any more perennials, I will get very large pots of them. And I'll put them back here. I also have, let's see, I've got comfrey and the other thing that's like that, borage. I have both of those over here as well. And the chickens can munch on it as they see fit. And anyway, perennials. So if you wanted to learn how to garden with chickens, I do have that on my stand store. Stop! That's not necessary. I do have that on stands.store/TLNG for the Lazy Northern Gardener. And I have information, brochure on how to, no, it's an ebook on how to garden with chickens. I also took out the fencing around the orchard because the orchard trees are fine now. They're big enough to fend for themselves. And so the chickens have free access basically to the whole orchard now, the grapevines, the figs, and along here in this, what was formerly a cutting garden. The only thing they don't have access to is over there, the strawberries. Those are actually fenced off with that 2-foot fencing, and they don't get in there right now. But anyway, this is about cutting back your perennials. If you want to cut them back, do it. But again, put all the branches in a faraway corner where the insects can wake up when it's time and then do their thing. That is all for now. Sammy Lowe, the Lazy Northern Gardener in Macomb Township, and coming at you live. It's got to be 60 degrees out here. It's just beautiful. I'm loving it. And love you guys, and I will. Oh, I know what I was going to do. One more thing. I was going to tell you why I use these, and that is because I don't have to bend down with pruners if I use these. I just snip, snip, snip. I've been tossing branches that way, and then I'll use my rake and I'll rake them over to where I want them to be, and then I'll place them in the pile the direction I want. But for me, the bending over all the time, bending over, getting up, bending over, getting up is annoying. So I do as much as I can from my standing position, and then I do the groundwork to pick up the pieces and put them in that far off corner. All right, that's all. Bye.